There is a white guy who's been cited for being racist. He played even one. I didn't even see the game, but he must have. Chelsea played Spurs, and he must have said something to Ledley King, who's a dark-skinned fella, and Ledley King's boys steamed in. It was like a melee on the pitch. You know what I mean? Because that's how it is in this country. You know what I mean? Um, um, Although it's a racist, structured country with people still old holdouts, the ordinary people, generally by and large, are pretty okay. So um, so the white guys on this team, stood up for him because this is, whatever. You know what I mean? And they're, they're all at it. You know what I mean? But that's not the first time John Terry's been cited for being racist or doing something antagonistic in that regard. I've never followed it all the way through, but if you're going to say, tap in John Terry, is he racist? Whatever the case may be, you're going to find out. His mum was done for stealing, his dad was done for fraud, it was all kind of stuff, you know what I mean? I'm not slagging him down, but let's be honest. John Terry was known for sleeping with so many different women. It was a big scandal. I mean, at once there was one girl, and this is how girls are hypocritical. She goes, and me too, right? And I was on crutches, and I was going to the toilet, and he dragged me into the toilet. Now, she didn't say anything about rape, right? He wanted a bit and fancied her, and she gave him, right? She gave him. Now, this guy was screwing it. There was a joke running around, I forget the joke, about, lock up your women, John Terry's in town. So, you've got squeaky clean. I wouldn't say squeaky clean, but he was clean. No scandals. And Mr. Scandal Bag, racist, allegedly, philanderer. And who do you think they gave the captaincy to? In the face of kick it out, and the FA saying we're going to kick out racism, and racism got no place within this sport and that. Who do you think? I think I rest my case. I think you know. So I don't really have much time for them kicking up a stink about some fan who may or may not have been racist. Somebody else is putting the strings to that pony, right? And I don't care. I'm going to backtrack a little bit as well, because I'm going to get back to the Brexit thing before I go on to another topic. UK politics. UK politics. Lately, there have been a few debates, and the debates are biased in that there was one the other day where you had 4 people. You had Caroline Lucas from the Greens. She's a Remainer. It's a very small party. It's not even as big as UKIP. But she's got the same platform. There's no UKIP representative there. But she's on it, right? She's a Remainer. So that's a voice for the Remainers. You had Barry Gardner, a weevil waffling Labour man, who is a Remainer. You had James Cleverly, is a light-skinned brother, Tory, who's supporting Theresa May's deal. Well, we know that Theresa May is a Remainer at heart, although she's saying Brexit means Brexit, and we've just found out from the Attorney General that her Brexit plan is pretty much keeping Britain in. 3 of the 4. And you had head of the ERG, the European Research Group, Jacob Rees-Mogg. Now, what they're trying to say is that all 4 individual, but if you understand where they're coming from, only one is a true leave, a true Brexiteer. The rest of them are Remainers. That's a fact. Not only is he more respectful of not to try to talk over it, they try to talk over him. So even though, like Caroline Lucas, put a sock in it, shut up, you had your time. So that's one instance. Then I'm watching, I think it's Sky News, and I'm watching an interview with 3 ordinary people. And I'm like, what's wrong with this picture? Right? There was a French girl who said she fell in love. She's from France. She's here with a baby, a little baby. Fell in love and she's here. She's a Remainer, right? You had an Irish dude who's part Irish, part German. Another Remainer. And you had an English Brexiteer, right? So again, you got 2 Remainers, twice the time the Brexiteer. It's just how it rolls. The BBC are, really good at it. I thought it was just the BBC, but lately I've been watching a bit of Sky News and you see it all over the place. Put it this way, it's the people who want out, but the authority wants us to stay in. It's the Tower of Babel, right? This is anti-God. There's no ifs, buts and doubts about it. And you're probably wondering why I'm freaking around with these papers. I just made some notes. I mean, I haven't as yet said, well, this is my program, I'm going to write it out. You know what I mean? I pretty much wing it and probably guess where I think about an hour is. So, UK politics. Now, I'm sticking with UK politics because there is a WhatsApp going around. And you may know of the WhatsApp, you may not. But it's a WhatsApp of you can only see, it's a baby. A baby, 2.5, maybe 3. Maybe 3, possibly 4. That's a big difference between, but I'm going to say she speaks. So I'm going to say she's at least 3 to 4, right? I don't know if she's in a high chair or what, but 3 to 4. And you can see it's a young white woman by her hands. So it's a white baby. And camera's rolling, and she's got these cakes or empty packet. So she's asking the baby, so what happened to the cakes? Who ate the cakes? Type of thing, And, children, imaginative, shouldn't have eaten the cakes. And I'm like, I wonder how many cakes, but she must have gobbled them up. She had gobbled them up pretty clean, because usually there's a bit of around the face. There wasn't any around the face. So I don't know what kind of cakes they were, Kipling's. So I don't know if it's staged or not. There's aspects of it that doesn't sound staged, and maybe I'm jumping ahead of my time. Anyway, so who ate the cake? So it turns out the baby says a black man took it, and the mother laughs, and it cuts off. That's the video, right? A black man came and took them, ate them. Now, I've got this WhatsApp from black people twice or maybe 3 times, black women. And, there's Twitter talking about it, and it's all, see what they're teaching their children, and can't blame the baby, it's obviously racism. And I just looked at it and I said to myself, well, that's just me. It's the academic in me, it's the person that's looking at it and listening to it. And I'm saying, will you guys stop claiming racism when it just might not be racism. Number one, it could be staged, right? Because kids usually, when they're that age, they don't eat cakes cleanly. It's usually around their face, fingers, the evidence. This baby's face, there's none of that. So she's saying, who ate the cakes? So when she says a black man took them, she burst out laughing. Like, I thought it sounded genuine, you know what I mean? And I just thought, well, okay, they come up with the strangest, whatever it is. And someone says, well, their argument is, well, why would she associate theft with black man? And I'm like, well, you could say eating the cakes is theft. I don't think the 4-year-old is making that association. I don't think the 4-year-old is making that association. So let me just explain why it doesn't have to be racism at all. And anybody listening to this, and I should think of what title I should put for this video. But you'll know what it is. I'm the one I'm dressed in me, you know what I mean? Most people, black people, where, let's just say, a black woman is telling a family member, friends, about the incident on a bus or a train where there was a rude white man. And they're telling the incident. As kids are like sponges. So she's rather animated and she's telling the story about this white man. And the white man said this, the white man said that. There's nothing racist about that. It's an identifier of the person who is not like them or of a different culture, explaining how the white man was rude. Right? Matter of fact. So one thing the child's going to say, white man, right? If the mother is all vexed and irritated, then the child might make the association that white man made me, mum, angry. I'm going to mimic that. But if it was a different story about a white man, it would be an identifier. It was a white man. It's an other. Like I think the baby was looking for an excuse. An other. What other can I do other than say, yeah, I took it? It was, black man. Because I know there's an other. It's black man. It wasn't uncle blah, blah, blah. Because, you know, the association is, you know him better than I do. And he wasn't here. All arrows point at me. So you pick up, like, the boogeyman. And the boogeyman is one that you spoke of when you were talking to Dad about the black guy. Or the black man. That's the way I see it. It sounded like it took the mother completely by surprise. And I think she was just doing one of those videos because children do come up with silly excuses and you film it. And she was filming it. And they give you £250. The video show, You've Been Framed, right? Could have been a You've Been Framed moment. You never know. You still might see it. It depends on how it's taken. I don't read the racism into it. Of course you can. An argument can be made to say it is, but you know, black people, it can't be anything else. It has to be racism, and there's legitimate other explanations because white people will say the black guy or the black man this, the black man that, just as you would say the white man this, the white man that. I mean, it's not as if to say I mean, how many babies know to put it in the right context to say the black man is a thief? And why would they say the black man is a thief? The mum said it. The mum's teaching the child. Well, yes, yeah, they teach their children some weird things. Parents do, you know. But it just didn't seem to me that it was legitimate to be calling that one and labelling that racism. And unfortunately, a lot of people bite into that. And sometimes these things might not be genuine. There are agencies out there who create false images, false scenarios, and put it out there to get your support for, you know? So they invent these things, get actors to do stuff. And unfortunately, we're living in that time when there is fake news, false flag events, and it's all to steer people to be outraged so that problem, reaction, solution, they can say, oh, I heard you. You wanted a new law? Bring in a new law just to protect you lovely black people. You people of colour, we love you so much. We're going to bring in a law. Reparations. What? What reparations? What did he say? What did he say? Oh, you don't love me no more. I thought you did. You want to listen to me? Then listen to when I speak. Don't you speak for me and tell me that's what I did. You did it on my behalf. And that's what we black people don't see and don't listen enough. And that's all around, well, in the US and here. Excuse me. I have had the lurgy. So, I just wrote my views down. There are real serious issues of racism or colour prejudice, and you'll find that in the judiciary. In fact, they're in all aspects of human activity, to health, labour, law, education, economics, entertainment, religion, politics, domestic and foreign, you know. And so, this is the country, it's not only where they make white people, and now they make black people, but it's the country where they make racism, but they also, it's, they also bring in legislation against it. There is that aspect of interest convergence, and I'll do a video about critical race theory and interest convergence. But basically, it's like it's an alliance where both parties. It ought to be an alliance where both parties benefit by doing an action or bringing forth something that both parties benefit. Quite often, one party benefits at the behest of another. I call that non-directional interest convergence. And there are times when people make an alliance, a coalition, and both know what they want out of it. It's an agreement. I call that directional interest convergence. But when I do a video about critical race theory, we'll get down to that. But at the end of or in the final analysis, as opposed to saying at the end of the day, or young Pharaoh, with that said, I'm like, oh Lord have mercy. It is what it is. And he's done, done some, reasonable work. I'm not gonna knock him. He's learning and doing his thing. But, So, recap. Today's the day. The Conservative Party, UK politics, Conservative Party, may vote and win the vote of no confidence in Theresa May. The word on the streets, Huggy Bear, is that she may well withstand that vote and win, even if it's by one vote. She would be wounded, yes. Somebody would resign. She's going to cling on. Yep, Star Trek it. She's going to Star Trek it. Because she's a female and they don't know honour. Do you know what I mean? She will not have the honour. She's not going to die for anything. She's not going to fight for anything. She's going to lay down for everything and cling on. That's what she's going to do. So I'm pretty much disappointed. But there is a treacherous nature in UK politics. And it's unfortunate. But a journalist by the name of Peter Oborne, he did a documentary on Dispatches, I think it is. It's online. And it was, the findings was 80% of UK politicians have been bought off by the Jewish lobby. They call Labour, the lobby is called Labour Friends for Israel, Lib Dem Friends for Israel, Conservative Friends for Israel, and lo and behold, they even come up with the UKIP Friends for Israel. So everything that Israel wants, all of these parties get. And if you're not a friend of it for Israel and you're a new party, I don't think they would allow you to get off the ground. That's how powerful they are in this country. And of course, if you said something like that, as I've just said, they probably want to say it's anti-Semitic, and they're not Semites. I'm more Semitic than they are. This is the fact. It's nothing to do with your religion. It's to do with your vernacular. And quite often, your vernacular is connected to where you live. Of course, I am a son of the soil here, but my ancestry, as you can see, would emanate some hundreds and hundreds of years ago from the continent. And as I understand it, from the western side. And those dialects are known as Hamito-Semitic dialects. Somebody who is not a Semite, who happened to be a linguist, changed the name from Hamito-Semitic to Afro-Asiatic. Somebody did that. If you would like to do your own research and find out the answer to that, you can win a prize, buy it yourself and treat yourself. Okay? But anyway, that's UK politics for you. So, yeah, we'll find out. I don't know. I didn't even know what time I started this. But one shall find out soon enough which way it's gone, the vote. I think it's 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. We'll find out exactly whether Theresa May stays or should she go. So, just a recap on that. I spoke about the racism, alleged racism in football. Very briefly, I didn't go into it. I've not made a big song and dance about it because it doesn't really matter. What needs to be done, I suppose, is me to get my master's, me to, I've sketched out a couple of books, you know, to write these pieces, and I need that time, I need that blessing from the Creator to be able to do it. Hit 1, hit 2, hit 3, hit 4, and just write them, you know? And these are not the fictional bits and pieces. I do a little bit of fictional bits and pieces, but these are necessary books that aren't there in the market now that have to be there. So these topics are, that I'm thinking, not these topics, but the themes that I have got, my ideas on the books will be done. At least I'll know what to speak of and I don't have to answer a question, because not every question is a good question. Some of them are loaded, some of them are just they're based on an assumption, so you're like, I heard the question, but do you know what I mean? So, you know, you start off having to clarify the air, because why would you say that, Miss Academic, Miss PhD? But that's the way these guys operate. So I talked briefly about the media bias. Well, the media is biased. I mean, it's really ridiculous, you know what I mean? It's terrible, and Donald Trump is talking about fake news, but boy, I've known that from some time, and I think at the end of the day, the general populace know that the media is biased and fake, and some things that you can't even take for granted that they actually happen, because the media will sell a story that's totally untrue. And been proven so, that more people are going to the internet. They actually give away free newspapers now. They give away free newspapers. People just like a comic, put it down. You know what I mean? Because it's on the internet is where you get the real news, real researchers, citizen journalists, and so forth in the main. And the mainstream media following, lagging behind, unless they've got a good website. Now, I look at the papers. The big papers, the broadsheets, every day. I just have a good look, see what the stories are, flick to the next one, see what the stories are, flick the next one. Sometimes a good article, something about education, whatever the case may be. I like the setup of the Daily Mail. The Daily Mail is supposed to be a racist, you know what I mean? Right wing. I don't care. If they got a story and they're breaking news about medical or whatever, and it's covered well there, then I'm looking at it. Not everything in The Guardian is a bloody good piece, you know what I mean? About Guardian's very lefty, you know what I mean? I used to, that was it for me, just eat from The Guardian, you know what I mean? And then I broaden my horizon, and I look at them all. The Independent, The Express, The Mail, The Guardian, The Telegraph. I don't do The Times, because The Times wants you to pay, that's right wing. And The Telegraph, some of the stories, they won't let you look unless you pay. And I'm not paying for none of your stuff, you know what I mean? I just ain't paying for none of your stuff. It's that simple. Sorry. You still insist. I was going to say something, but I think I'm going to wrap it up, because I've spoken about Theresa May, right? I touched a little bit about the racism in football, and, how England treats racism. It's just it's fake, and it's been driven by somebody else, not me. If it's not driven by me, not being raised by me, don't pretend that you care for me. You don't much care for me. The media bias, I hit that. And I spoke about the new WhatsApp that's doing the rounds. Got that this morning. Got it yesterday morning. This morning, it was still coming in, and uh, of course, one person said, "Well, agree to disagree. I'm cool. You put your case, I put mine." I don't automatically believe it to be racist, but I can see a lot of black people saying definitely. And in and amongst those definitely will be people saying, yeah, and they're just stirring it to make you feel in like one mono thought going on out there. And I just don't buy it, and who cares what some mum did with her baby and the baby said black man, and is that taking food from my mouth? No, it's got nothing to do with the the employment tribunals, the court cases, the high courts. It's got nothing to do with, employment or anything to do. You may indirect down the line. And footballers, do me a favour. When somebody throws a banana at you on the field, just think about the lovely holiday you're going to have and the lovely money these white people are actually paying you to play the beautiful game that we'd love to do, and many of us do for free. Don't moan about it. There's a lot of work to be done in this country, but you know and I know not every white person is racist. There was a story the other day about some neo-Nazi white guys that were going to do some terrorist attack against black people. Now, if you have to resort to that, if that's your idea of white supremacy, then whatever. Words fail me, but it's their life, and they can occupy a jail cell. And if they just want to kill people because they believe England's supposed to be pure white, is it? Is that what it is? Oh dear. I think there's some people who buy into that kind of ideology. Really, I don't mind what people think. I don't mind what they say, and they don't have to like me or love me. But I do draw the line at inciting violence and taking life. You have no right to take no one else's life. You absolutely don't. And if I were in charge, I don't care if it's a black guy or a white guy, anybody. If you take someone's life, this is where education comes in. We humans are sacred and we're very special people. And given the chance, if it wasn't for the people that control much of what we see and think, and we had real proper education, not indoctrination, proper education, this world would be a better place. But I've said my bit, done my video, and with that, I bid you farewell. Have a good evening. And if I don't do a video before Christmas, I think I will. Have a Merry Christmas anyway. And with that, see ya.